Guys, my bullish scenario for NEO stock has completely changed. Let me explain, and let me make some things very clear first of all. I believe that NEO will have no problem doubling their sales in 2025. I am very confident that NEO will be able to achieve this. However, the path that they're going to get there is what's really important, okay? So first of all, I believe Envo will really be a huge factor in 2025. I believe deliveries will continue to increase with Envo because they have a great product. And remember, they haven't even done any incentives for Envo yet, okay? And the CEO has promised that by March, they're gonna do 20,000 deliveries per month. And going forward, they will probably keep that momentum. And then in the later half, in Q3, Q4, they're going to launch the Envo L70. So that's going to be an even bigger boost to Envo's delivery numbers. So going forward, it's totally possible that Envo itself gets 20 to 30,000 deliveries per month with the Envo L60 and the Envo L70 going forward, okay? So Envo, very, very confident in Envo. With NEO, the NEO brand, it's a little bit interesting, okay? So I expect the second half of NEO brand's sales, second half of 2025, NEO brand sales to really pick up because that's when they do the product refresh. Right now, they're still selling the NT 2.0 products, and I believe, and this is nothing against NEO, this is not me hating NEO or anything like that, I believe, like, in the first half of this year, of 2025, we might actually see a sales decline for NEO, the NEO brand, because of simply the fact that, you know, these vehicles, they've been selling it for a long time, and these high sales numbers that they've been getting is all thanks to really good incentives. So they got to keep up these great incentives to maintain these numbers, and they had great incentives in December. Going forward, you know, they got to come up with even greater incentives to keep these great numbers. Otherwise, we might see deliveries begin to slide a little bit, and that's absolutely normal. Once the refreshed ET5, ET5T, ES6, EC6 with the horizontal screens and their own self-developed chip comes out in the middle of the year, boom, all right, that's going to be a huge boost to sales going forward. And of course, the NT 3.0, ES8, and ES7, and then the ET7 as well. These cars will also, on the third generation, be a huge boost to sales in the latter half of 2025. So, you know, Envo is going to be just straight up. NEO might see some deliveries go down a little bit, all right, and then back straight up, okay? Firefly. Now, Firefly is very interesting because I ultimately believe it will sell well. It is a very good product, and at that price category, in that form factor, you don't really see a competitor that's smart enough compared to the features that the Firefly car offers. You know, even though that requires its own individual swap station, but you got to remember that as a standalone EV, a compact boutique car, that's just charging, all right? Just charging itself. It's still going to be a very good product, and it's still going to sell regardless of battery swap. People seem to think that, you know, battery swap is the only way to get power, and then, you know, Firefly without battery swap stations is a huge burden. Well, you can argue that, yes, but as just the EV itself that you charge every day at any public charger, it's still going to be a great EV. So that's the thing that people got to understand. As a cheap, compact car with great features, it's still going to sell. There's still going to be a lot of people buying this car. So I'm very positive and confident in Firefly as well. So, of course, all these factors going forward, it does mean that altogether we have very big sales increase in 2025. And that's going to help them achieve doubling of their sales. What about the stock? Okay, we've seen the stock is sort of floating around 4-ish. Not too happy, right? I'm not too happy with the stock price. I'm sure not everybody's happy with the stock price. Can it go down more? The unfortunate answer is, of course it can go down more. Of course it can go up, right? Why can it go down? Well, when NEO stock was 60, I said that NEO stock could possibly go down to 22 because there was a gap down at 22. And indeed, we went back down. We went down to 22. When NEO was in the 20s, I said NEO stock could go down to 8 possibly. Be careful, because there's a gap down in 8. I didn't make that gap. It's there. I'm just pointing it out, right? And NEO stock did go down to 8. A lot of people hated me for it, but it's the truth. Sometimes you don't like what the doctor says to you. I understand. Of course, long term, still very bullish with the company. The company is great, but they are spending a lot of money. And do we have any more gaps down below 4? And unfortunately, the answer is yes, they are. And I hope to God that we do not visit any of those price levels. One of the gap is at 2.55. The other is at 1.5. So I hope we do not get down there. But it's totally possible that for a freak scenario, we get down there. Yeah. But we're not ruling the fact that out, okay? But overall, I'm still very bullish. I think that we shouldn't be able to get down there. I think right now, this should be pretty much the bottom, okay? The bottom is pretty much I think, in my personal opinion. And going forward, I do expect the doubling of sales to really help their bottom line. And in 2026, when we get profitability, that's going to change the scenario. And the other really bullish thing, of course, if Trump is able to end the war in Ukraine that's happening in Ukraine right now, that's going to be really bullish for NEO as well. It's going to be bullish for Chinese stocks because Chinese as an ally to Russia, that sort of eases the tension and makes Chinese stocks a lot more investable. So you can start to see some of the more favorable price to sales ratio that a lot of the American companies may be getting. And just going forward in general, all right, NEO has gotten even better reputation than before, and people really love NEO more than before. Even the Chinese government love NEO more than before. The Chinese media, all right, they love NEO more than before. So I think all of this is really going to help them become a much better company going forward. And I think NEO as an investment is one of those generational investments, okay? Right now, NEO stock is a huge bargain in my opinion. Even though there's still possibility of the stock going down. There's always that possibility. But I still believe very long term we are very bullish, and I think we can definitely go to triple digits and beyond, all right? Because NEO, from what they're building, they have such a high market dominance in terms of the luxury EV market, okay? And then with the Envo and Firefly, they have now, for the first time ever, a full catalog of products from 100K-ish all the way up to like 800, 900K RMB. So you got a full spectrum of cars for the different budget consumers. So they're going to sell well in every single price category. And I believe going forward, it's going to be blue skies coming for shareholders as well. Now, one thing I do want to mention is, December deliveries, fantastic, absolute fantastic. But there is some speculation here in China that the reason that it was so urgent that they had to get those numbers was to impress investors. And impress investors, not exactly shareholders, but outside investors with money that might invest further into the company to inject cash. But that's just speculation here in China. Not too sure, but it is also very possible that we might face further dilution down the line. It's always a possibility because NEO is spending a lot of money on R&D, and they are a growth company after all, and they're growing really, really well, all right? There's no arguing against that. They're growing a lot. So I'm cautiously bullish, and I believe 2x in sales, definitely achievable in 2025. 2026 profitability, definitely achievable in my personal opinion. And I believe right now is a very good time to get in. Personal opinion, not financial advice. Okay? As always, stay safe, stay healthy. Peace out.